Hello, welcome to the first episode of Whiskey News. I'm Gene Nassif, aka Whiskey Esquire. Today we're going to go over sort of what happened this week in the Whiskey News. A lot of things came from Buffalo Trace this week. Wanted to talk about them and wanted to rant a bit, to be completely honest with you. Two things, Weller and Blanton's. We can knock out the Blanton's pretty quick. Blanton's Gold, previously available only Europe, Caribbean, outside of the United States, 103 proof, single barrel, now going to be available in the United States. The rationale, I believe, are the tariffs don't want to export it anymore, or they don't want everybody paying the excessive fees. So it's going to be available here for 120 bucks. My opinion on it, 93 proof is what's available here. You're getting an extra 10 proof for roughly double the price. In my personal opinion, for a 6-year product, even single barrel, it's just not worth it. Wanted to mention a couple of other options in the same age, similar mash bill, and or similar price point that you might look to instead. The first one's going to be Magnus. I don't have a bottle of it, but that is higher rye bourbon. I could just go ahead and say anything MGP, either 21 rye or the 36 rye. This one's Belle Meade. This one's only 90 proof, so it is going to be less proof. But this one's 30 to 40 bucks, 45 on a bad day. 6 to 8 year, which is older than what you're going to get, and just as good stuff. You've got the classic right here, Old Granddad. Would have whipped out the 114, but I don't have one out right now. OGD 114 is like 30 bucks. I believe it's a Kentucky straight, so it's at least 4 years old. So what, 2 years younger, 3 years younger than Blanton's Gold's going to be, and cheaper than shit, higher proof, so I would recommend that one. Another classic MGP is the Redemption Series. You can get these all day for sub $90. This one is 9-year barrel proof, so it's going to be older, about the same rye content as you would get from Blanton's, and alcohol content's going to be 108.2. That's barrel proof, so just a bit more. I've had plenty of Blantons in my day. Do I love it? Absolutely. Do I think it's worth the price and the scarcity, especially given the fact that it's a 6-year product and you can get this stuff all day? No, I don't think it's worth it. I could have also added, now that I mention it, Buffalo Trace. Sorry, not Buffalo Trace, Beam. Could have added, oh shit, I'm losing it. Old Granddad is Basil Hayden's. There we go. Also could add Basil Hayden's, however, it's an 80 proofer. The 10-year is surprisingly good, though, for 80 proof. That's a high rye, but just a quick taste here. That price point, 120 bucks, you're talking some really special whiskey. And Buffalo Trace, while their higher price stuff is normally very, very good, the fact of the matter is scarcity just kills them. And I know that there's a lot of the fan base, I would even say right now in today's market, maybe even 50%, that haven't gotten an opportunity to try these higher end whiskeys, and it really is a shame. And I think in part the company is doing this to themselves. I personally think that there is enough stock available, barrels that they could be releasing to the broader audience, allowing more people to enjoy the product instead of just talking it up and hyping it online. So little disappointing there from Buffalo Trace. I think the price point's high for what it is, and I gave you a few other options. Bellmead store picks are the other ones. Those are hard to come by, don't get me wrong, but the Bellmead Reserve is readily available in most states, $58, barrel proof, and actually older than what you're going to get from Blanton's Gold. So those are my opinions on that. Next, I think you see the Wellers. We're going to talk about Weller. There was a leaked photo 2 days ago, and it looks like there were 5 whiskeys that were in this leaked photo. First one was Weller Wheat Whiskey. Second one was Cognac Cask. Third was Single Barrel. I believe that one's 90 proof. Non-chill filtered, and then finally Bottled and Bond. And just for a quick intro and to get myself acclimated, I've got a bit of the antique. This one's, they say, around 7 years old, 107 proof. Oh, it's always made the so good. Cherry, super smooth from the wheat. What's always made this one special, at least in terms of how it's made, is a lower barrel entry. I believe it's 114 proof. It enters the barrel. So in that sense, at least from my experience, it gives a smoother, creamier whiskey. It really does taste fantastic. The biggest company right now that does that, the lower proof entries, Michter's. Highly, highly respect them for doing that. It's a more expensive product, but the result is really fantastic. It's how it used to be. Everything used to be sub 110 barrel entry. Also, I believe Wild Turkey's still doing that, so there's that. But 5 whiskeys that most of us will never be able to taste or get a hold of, that will immediately hit the secondary market, what few bottles there are released, and will most certainly be sold for more money than we can afford, being average everyday people. Pretty disappointing from Buffalo Trace. What I wish they would do is increase production of the products that they have now. I understand that's simpler said than done, but the fact of the matter is they've got seemingly enough product to now release 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full-proof antique, 12 and special reserve. So there will be 9 different wheated bourbons coming out of, well, that doesn't even include Pappy and William LaRue Weller. So there you go, like 12 different wheated bourbons coming out of Buffalo Trace. I personally think that's a bit ridiculous. If I had to give them advice, I'd say stick to a few. Stick to a few and make it available to everybody so everybody can enjoy it, everybody can talk about it. The thing with Weller Special Reserve that I think they should have done is up the price to like Buffalo Trace maybe. Match the price there. You're going to get fewer people buying it, but on the flip side, I think it's going to be available to more people. Do I think it's that excessive of a raise in price? No, I think that would be market price. I think that'd be more than fair, and I think people would get used to it. Hopefully, more people have access to it, more people get to enjoy it, and we would have a lot better bourbon community for it. But sadly, they're shooting for 12 products. One of them's new, I guess. The wheat whiskey would be different than a wheated bourbon. It would be at least 80% wheat. So that is different. But flip side, I think you're really just spreading yourself too thin. I'd much rather have more people able to try maybe 3 products than splitting the barrels between 12 and hoping that a few might hit shelves sometime, and I think it's doing more harm than good right now in the bourbon community, so that sucks. But Weller Special Reserve, hopefully we'll see a bit more of it. 90 proof, I'm not going to say it's the best thing in the world, it really isn't, but see, it's just a good daily drinker for somebody that works a 9-hour day, gets home, wants something that's not going to fight them too hard. It's an absolute classic, and I absolutely hope that there's a time in the near future that this is as readily available as Buffalo Trace throughout the country. So that's my hope there. But I also wanted to bring up, these are a few other wheated bourbons and then a wheat whiskey. They are readily available. They've got some good age to them. And these are alternatives. I guess I missed one. I don't have it right now. The first one would be your Maker's 46 or your Maker's Mark cask strength. Maker's does a great job. They have a fantastic product line. I think it's often overlooked on the shelves because it's available everywhere. But it's a wheat whiskey done right. The barrel proof is very good, and everybody has access to it. Everybody has the opportunity to enjoy it. The two here from Heaven Hill. First, we've got Larceny, 6 to 8 year wheated bourbon. I believe they say 6 to 8. Yeah, I think it's online that says 6 to 8. This is the old Fitz. 92 proof, so 2 proof higher than Weller's Special Reserve. Brings a bit more heat than the Weller's Special Reserve. Brings you that Heaven Hill nuttiness, and you actually really get to try and taste the wheat grain within that whiskey as a secondary grain there. The other one is Bernheim. It's a wheat whiskey, so this is going to be like the new Weller wheat whiskey coming out. Good news is this is available right now. It's about $30 depending on where you're at. 7-year age statement, and I believe it's still made in the famous Bernheim distillery. And I really haven't drank too many of these, but I mean, not a ton of flavor. When you're drinking a wheat whiskey, you shouldn't be expecting a flavor bomb. But what you're getting is something that's just silky smooth, delicate, something you don't need to really sit down and ponder for a long time. Not the most complex thing in the world. I'd rather have a rye heavy bourbon. You know what? Very good stuff. So that's that. 2 alternatives. Well, I guess 3 alternatives with the Makers. 2 Weller. My little rant about how I wish things were more available. Hopefully next week we'll have some more news for you. And that's it. Have a nice night.